Now to start, we're going to expose the 2 screws behind the handle that opens the door using our fine tip screwdriver, and then engaging this little tab right here, prying down, and then just prying this cover out. That gives you a close-up of what that looks like. Now on the door card itself, where the grab handle is to close the door, take your screwdriver and insert it into this little slot right here and just pry up, and that exposes that last screw. Using our Phillips screwdriver, we're going to undo the screw. There's one. And then it helps if you can pull the handle out this way and then get in there. And pay attention to the style of screws. This one's a shorter screw with a metal shoulder. They're the same on the top. And then lastly, just a regular Phillips in the door handle. Once those are undone, grab in the corner here to pull on the door card, and that pops out that clip, and then you work your way around the door, releasing it. Carefully pull the door card away from the door. You're going to notice on the back of the door card right here that there's going to be the door handle assembly. So you just kind of give that a wiggle, and then that just pops out of place. And then you want to disconnect the wiring harness that controls the power window and power lock controls. And you just squeeze that little tab on the top and pull. And that should be all there's to it to take this out. In order to gain access to the window regulator and the bolt securing the glass to the regulator, we actually need to use an X-Acto knife to cut away sort of that urethane sealant behind this little black foam sound barrier, water barrier on each side. Now, the other thing that has to come out is this plug, because what we're going to do is we're going to power up the vehicle and then plug that door card in temporarily to lower the glass so that we have access to a bolt here, and then on this side, and we're going to undo this one, but just loosen the left side, and then bring it almost all the way down such that we can tip the glass and then pull it out of the vehicle. Now, the reason why this side has to be opened up is that it allows you to visually see the glass being aligned inside of the regulator, because it should never bind up. It is a bit of an awkward spot, so having both sides open allows you to make sure that that glass, once it's positioned and bolted back in, is lined up within the window regulator assembly. All right, so this left side sort of insulator panel has been removed. We can then remove this plug right here by just taking our hand and pushing it out. We're going to lower this window down such that the mounting screws for this glass appear on the left side where this big hole is, and lined up on this little right hole so we can take our little socket and remove those bolts. Now, before we can do that, we had to turn the ignition to run, make sure that the power windows are in an unlocked manner so that we can actually power up the windows, and then just lower the glass. And then you can sort of see here this 10mm, or this M6, I guess, bolt right here, and then the corresponding one through the hole. So you just want to line it up so that you can easily get your tool in there to undo these 2 screws. We can unplug the door card once the glass is in the proper position. Now here is a close-up view of the 2 M6 bolts holding the glass to the regulator rail assembly. Using a 10mm socket, undo and completely remove the right-hand side screw, and then just partially loosen, but not fully remove, the left-hand screw. So we took out that bolt. I've mostly loosened this one, not completely though. And the reason why I don't want to do that just yet is that we need to lower this glass again by reattaching our door card and lowering the window in such a way that I have more clearance to actually take this glass out. It's got to almost be completely down, at which point then we can repeat, disconnect the door card, fully undo that bolt, and then tip the glass this way and then pull it out towards the exterior of the car. Okay, so we've lowered our window and we basically removed both bolts. But before we actually pull the glass out, just hold the glass, but so it doesn't fall, and just lift up on this inner trim assembly right here. and just pops out like this. Noting the orientation of the felts, they point upwards. Okay, so here's the side profile. They point upwards, right? So it sweeps the glass. Okay, so that trim, just so you know, give you a better view because it was blurry, is that it comes out like this. So this felted side, if you notice that the sweeps are pointing up. So from a side view, that's what those sweeps look like. Felt side goes towards the glass. Now, to remove the glass, using your left hand, support the lower glass, and then carefully tip the glass from the back of the door and tip it up this way, and it's gonna just very gently tip this out, like so, and then take it out as one piece. All right, so here's our replacement glass directly from Honda. Reinstallation is a little bit trickier on this one. So we're going to reinstall in, of course, the reverse order removal, but there is a bit of a technique here to get this in properly. First and foremost, we're going to angle the front lower end of the glass into the door very carefully. Try to get it down, and then the steeper the angle you go, making sure that this corner right here where my pinky finger is, you follow sort of that track right here where the glass belongs, and just kind of go down slowly. It should never bind up, but you have to pay attention to the inside of the door, that it's not catching up on any wiring harnesses. And then now on this back side, right here, it's going to eventually land in this groove right here on the inside of the door, which is why we had to peel open sort of that access panel cover. And you just want to get it roughly in so that it's able to be tipped. And you'll notice right now that it's not lining up with this groove. So you'll just have to, unfortunately, mess around with the glass until it aligns and just goes in. All right, I'm just visually, I can see that things are already in the tracks on the inside here. And you just look sideways, the glass is in that way. And then on this side, there's no pinching on the left side. And this black wire right here on the door beam, that's the harness that this glass can get hung up on. So just be mindful of that. And then if everything is good, the glass should line up on the top track, and then you can even carefully push it up and down. And it operates very smoothly. So see, up and then down. So now what we're gonna do, since it's lined up, we're going to lower this piece onto the regulator assembly, which is that white part, just like that, and then line it up and then loosely install one screw just to hold it in place. It's a bit of a tight fit here. Got it up, and we just had to kind of wiggle this around a bit to line up the hole. But what you do is that you don't want to tighten it all the way yet. We want to make sure that we open up enough to get that second bolt in. Okay. Again, just very loosely. In fact, it shouldn't even touch just yet. And the reason why is that I want to operate the window until it closes completely. Double check, make sure that the track moves all the way up, close it all the way, and then down, and then up, and then down to where the screws are so I can tighten them. And when tightening them, they just need to be finger tight. Remember, this is glass. It doesn't really move around much, just snug. That's all there is to it. We snugged up both 10mm bolts, and then for these covers, usually the urethane here is enough to sort of make itself stick back onto the body. And if it doesn't, you can just use a bit of hot glue, a little bit of silicone, and even the door card itself will actually press this up against the door frame, and eventually it'll just reseal. Replace this access cover plug, and then reinstall the trim by just clicking that back down, and then once more, just testing the functionality of the window. So as you guys can see from my video, that replacing the front door glass on your 5th generation Honda Odyssey is neither time consuming nor difficult and can be achieved with some basic hand tools. The most important thing in this glass replacement is safety, so making sure you wear gloves and safety glasses and not over tightening the 2 screws on the bottom side of this glass. If you guys like this video, give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel, and thanks for watching.